Okay, welcome back. We are Arya Nagarjuna investigators. This is September 24th, 2025. Let's gather our minds here as we usually do. Please bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom, and see them there. They are gazing at you with their unconditional love for you, smiling at you with their holy great compassion, their wisdom radiating from them. That beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize how all the worldly ways we try fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Learning about karma and emptiness, we glimpse how it's possible. And we see that we need help. And so we turn our minds back to that precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know. what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please, please teach me that. Show me that. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the perfect world they are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands, and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community, through the merit that I do in sharing in this investigation and the rest. May we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community, through the merit that I do in sharing in this investigation and the rest. May we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community, through the merit that I do in sharing in this investigation and the rest. May all beings reach their total awakening for the benefit of every single other. Read text. Read text first. Make us bigger. Yeah. I think Elsie was there first again this morning. Would you share with us the opening, please?
Opening. Here I have made a song for you on the very root of the middle way, which I call wisdom. In the language of India, this text is called Prajna Nama Mula Madhyamaka Karika. In the language of Tibet, it is known as Uma Jiri Sikli Jipasya. In English, we call it wisdom. Song on the root of the middle way. I bow down to Manju's feet. The glorious gentle voice in his eyes as a phoenix one.
Thank you. And then Janet was second. Would you give us 1.1, please? I'm going to move it up. Whoopsie. Where did it go? Hello.
I have it. I bow down to the highest of teachers, to the fully enlightened one who teaches us to reach that peace where our fantasies about how things exist are finally put to a final rest.
Nice. Thank you. Joanna, please.
1.2 I bow to the one who taught us that things happen in dependence. Nothing ends and nothing begins, nothing stops, but nothing ever lasts forever. Nothing comes and nothing goes. No two things are different, nor are any two the same.
Some days that still throws me. Roxana, 1.3, please.
Yes, thank you. Nothing rose from itself, nothing rose from something else. Nothing rose from both, and nothing rose without a cause. There is nothing at all that grows at all.
But everything happens in dependence.
Right.
Wow, is Buddha crazy?
I think that the last line, kind of strikes you when you say there is nothing at all that grows at all.
Yeah.
If we weren't been studying, at least I would be going, what?
What? Yeah. But when I've played with these words over and over and over again, I think, what if the word nothing isn't nothing, it's no thing? What does that do to my mind when I say no thing grows from itself versus nothing grows from itself?
It changes the whole perspective, dear Lama.
It does, but is it helpful or is it an obstacle? Like, is it just making it more acceptable? Like what I feel is like if I say nothing grows from itself, I land on that extreme of, oh, then nothing really is. But if I go, no thing grows from itself, then the thing that's there had to come from something else. And so it's a little bit more comfortable.
But for example, if I were to think no thing, what immediately comes to my mind is the example of the pen. When I think of the object, when I
Right,
think of the pen,
right.
I think of the emptiness of the object.
That's a good thing.
Right, but when I think nothing grows from itself, I can't relate to exactly even an object, to nothing.
Right, right. So I'm not saying it should have been translated as no thing,
No, but
because for me trying to grapple with the verse to give me an aha, that was one thing that helped me. No thing grows.
definitely.
With the
Thank you
second
for
one,
sharing.
it's no thing grows from something else. Isn't that dependent origination?
Right, right. Because they do seem to grow, right? Yeah. Good, okay. So then what happens next? He goes on to talk about all the different causes. And he doesn't just say, look, all these different causes, they don't really exist. He goes through the logic of why they can't work the way we think. That's chapter 1. Chapter 2 is our yeah, but. Yeah, but I do so cause things to happen. And he goes, all right, let's see how that works. And he talks about going. Going, gone, goer, remember? And then we keep going through the yeah, but, yeah, but, yeah, but, yeah, but. And we reached that series of chapters 10, 11, 12. We're into 13, 11 through 13. That's what I want.
But when you're gone, you're no person. He's setting us up to be gone.
He is. How'd you come to that conclusion?
Because it's in the Eagle song, Already Gone, which plays whenever I do an emptiness meditation.
Oh, Janet, you are so special. That would be shocking, wouldn't it? For somebody to hear Janet said, Arya Nagarjuna teaching are setting us up to become God. Whoa, that would all get us burned at the stake.
I don't know if it's God. It's gone. right?
Oh,
Or
gone. Is that what you said? I heard you say God, setting us up to be
no,
good.
already gone. It's a very
Already
famous
gone.
song. But
Ah,
anyway, if you're already gone, then you don't have the person self anymore.
right.
And you
So
have the
then what's that?
origination self in some ways, and in some ways not. I think that's the problem with omniscience, because you can surf the changes, or you can be in the flow of things. You can channel. I guess people describe it to me as channeling energy. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Gone, gone, gone all the way, right? Gate, gate. So we had the desire and the one who desires in one of those chapters. And then, no, I do so exist because I exist like fire and firewood. Firewood has to be there already for there to be fire. And then we check that out. It's like, And then at the end of that, yeah, but I do so exist because I am there first, because I was there before I was born. I mean, that's not what the verse actually said, but that's the argument in our mind. If I'm in this life, I had to be in a previous life. And that makes me now. I had to be there first. And then he checked chapter 11. We went through chapter 11, showing us that there's no beginningless, endless, no middle. So that me that we're clinging to, like, technically, right, it's not there the way we think. It's dependently originated, but not from the things that we think. And then we went through that chapter 11. Okay. And then our yeah, but said, but, but, I do so exist, because, because I have pain. I experience, I experience pain. And then we went through that chapter on, well, where does that thing we call pain come from? And the question was, do we make our pain ourselves? And when we understand about karmic seeds, we would have to say yes, wouldn't we? That other guy doing that thing to me that makes me upset, that is the pain. That's my seeds ripening. So I made the pain. My karma made him do that. And then if we really thought that through, it's like, well, wait, the me experiencing the pain is a very different me than made the seeds, that made the guy do the thing that made me hurt right now. So can you even say we cause our own pain if the me that made the seeds was so different than the one who's experiencing the seeds? So if we're relating to a me in the way our Kachika is arguing, I do so exist. Well, then that me would have to be making its own pain. And that means we would be doing something and getting the result at the same time, because otherwise, right, by the time we do the thing that makes the pain, we're different the next moment experiencing the pain. So he said, let's be consistent here. If you are the one that makes the pain, right? Even wisdom says you make your own pain. But it's like, come on, not if we're thinking about ourselves in the wrong way. Because if we're thinking of ourselves in the wrong way as the one who makes my pain, then pain can't change, because it means you're making it and experiencing it at the same time. And if you're experiencing pain, then we're stuck with it. And it's like, well, that's not the experience, because pain comes and it goes. And he says, right, you're showing your own inconsistency in your own logic. Right? That's what he wants for us to do, is identify our wrong belief, hold on to it so strongly that we can do the logic and show ourselves that, oh my gosh, my belief doesn't hold up even with my experience. Because that's where we start. My experience says I'm the one that caused my pain. From wisdom side, worldly says I am not the one that causes my pain. Why would I hit my own toe with a hammer? Somebody else is doing that to me. By the time we're almost halfway through his book, we're not going to say, this me makes my own pain. And when we say, oh, my past me made my own pain, and we're thinking wrongly about our past me and our current me, then we're still wrong, he says. So that conclusion of this chapter was, not only does our pain itself not come from these four choices, but neither could any outer things ever come from these same four. So the same conclusion about the me now can't experience the result now is true about everything else that we experience. And where does that leave us in what we're thinking about our me when we know the punchline already? And we're just trying to get clearer and clearer glimpses of it, the ever-changing me. It's never the same two moments in a row, but never non-existent. How do we relate to that? Like, by the time we think of relating to it, we're different than we were. Like 65 instances different than we were. What me is there really? I like that phrase. Will the real me please stand up? But how do I go to the grocery store with the identity of, no real me? Like, I get this image of, whoa, that no me could walk through walls, right? Could instantly be in the grocery store or back at home. It's like, how amazingly different would be my reality if I really could identify as that. Simply a process. I wouldn't have to go to the grocery store ever again, as fun as it is. So why are we going there? Because what comes to your mind when we say, karma is the cause of pain? All right. So we say, yeah, but does it hurt to get run over by a car? Yes. Does it still hurt when we know it's coming from our seeds? Yeah. So we've talked about the me in me having pain. And we've kind of talked about the pain in me having pain. And this chapter 13, Lama Christie suggests, is about that thing that we believe is the cause of the pain. Like in the three spheres, me, other, experience, between. We've looked at the me, we've looked at the other, now we're looking at the how we think the other causes the pain. We think the other causes the experience. Haven't we done this before? How a functioning thing, how it works and how it doesn't work. So it's not that he's revisiting the same thing about functioning things, right? He's taken us deeper somehow because it's in this sequence of I do so exist because I suffer. I have pain. So let's see where he goes. An analysis of things that produce other things. That means functioning things. Function. An analysis of function. And remember that there's a big distinction between levels of understanding of emptiness from the schools that believe that things that function must have some nature of their own because they function. Right? When our level of understanding karma and emptiness is such that to be nothing but a projection still makes us think, like automatically flops over into, oh, then everything is like magic. We say that can't be true because an oncoming truck will break my body. That can't be just projection, right? It's a misunderstanding, but we hold to things that function as establishing that they are real by the fact that they can impact something else to cause a third thing. It's very rational. I admit, I am a functionalist. So this chapter becomes pretty important, that we can dig into how it is that because something does something, it reinforces our deep, deep idea that because something functions, it must be real. It must have its own ability to do that function. Yes, we know it's not self-existent. It depends on other things, but it is there to do that. Yes, Roxana.
Thank you, dear Lama. When reading Geshe Michael's transcripts on chapter 13,
Right.
he goes from functioning things to working things. So if we're to talk about functioning things, is it like a synonymous or is it a difference between a working thing and a functioning thing? Just so I can have it clear in my mind, dear Lama.
Yeah. You know, it sounds like synonyms to me. And when we, like, I hadn't thought of it, but when I think of a functioning thing versus a working thing, the word working, I don't know, has this connotation I can't put my mind around. It's something that's more specifically useful than function. Like function is like a general purpose, and the word working would imply to me some specific thing that it brings about. But the idea is there is a thing that has in it some quality that allows it to impact some other thing and bring about some specific change. And we rely on that for everything, don't we? Yeah. So let's think about it ourselves. Where do you think Nagarjuna is going to go with this? Even before we get there, we're halfway through the book. What do you think he's going to point out? Can the pen ever touch the paper? Can your hand ever touch the doorknob that you turn to open the door? What comes first? The thing that produces the other thing, or the produced thing? Because does the thing that produces the other thing, is it the thing that produces the other thing before the other thing is produced? Wait, no, really? Not until the result is produced has the producer done the producing. But then by the time the producing is done, you don't have the producer anymore because it's done. That might be another way he's going to go. What might be another way? Like, can they touch? Who's there first? We could go from the other side. Doesn't the result, the produced thing, actually produce the producer? Right? From the result back to the cause to result, result to cause. We did it that way too. All right, let's see. So Pauline, 13.1.
Okay, teacher. As the conqueror has stated, anything which misleads us is to be called deceptive. And since all things that produce are things which mislead us, thus they are deceptive.
Interesting. So what does it mean to be deceptive? Like worldly, describe to me something that would deceive you.
The rope and the snake.
A magic show.
Yeah, magic show, the rope and the snake. Another one.
The boss is the one that really makes me cranky.
What is that? I missed it.
Oh, I said, teacher, I said the boss is the one that is the cause of my making me unhappy.
The
It's
the
deceptive.
boss or the
Oh,
husband
the
in the
boss.
kitchen.
The
The
boss,
boss,
right.
the boss,
The
yeah,
boss,
because
right.
I still view the boss as something coming from his own side. Yeah, that's the
Right,
deceptive reality.
right, right. But come on. They are too there. They are too cranky. They are too impossible to please. Everybody agrees.
Not the fly in the room.
Yeah, but
Not everyone. When
uh,
once he was in the grocery store, I imagined him saying, "Stop that!" when the guy yelled at him.
stop that. Don't be mean.
Oh, don't project the man yelling at you.
Yeah. Mm.
I mean, we're told if our teachers suffer, it's coming from the students. So, you know, And I told that to Samadhi, and he told me I should stop that.
Yeah, just stop it, you guys. If we could, we would. That's why we're here. We're working on it. If somebody you know does something that deceives you, what's your reaction? Worldly reaction, habitual reaction.
I
Doubt.
get disappointed.
Yeah. We mistrust them.
Right.
You know, nothing. Maybe I'll still relate to them because I have to, but you know, I expect them to deceive me again sometime. Maybe they never do, but something happens to your relationship.
You still care for them, but you just want to stay away from them. It's
Yeah.
like, don't mess with me anymore.
Right.
You
Right,
just
right.
put a limit to that,
Yeah.
how to their attitude towards you, right?
Yeah. So what if we were aware that, you know, the pen has deceived us. All these years, I thought it was the pen's function in it from it. And now the pen deceived me, right? It did something to hurt me. And I can't trust that pen ever again. Like worldly ways, that's a negative thing, of course. But when we're talking reality, it should be the case that if we can see how any given thing is deceiving us, we would hopefully be able to go, wow, I can't trust that thing ever again. And hopefully that goes, I can't trust anything in that similar category, as in material things, in the same way. That's the hope, right? That if we can get a strong enough glimpse of any given thing's deceptive nature, it'll give us this clue that that's true for everything. Like we start intellectually with material things, and then we expand it to other conscious things. And then it's like, oh, well, then that's true for me as well, in terms of looking for our dependent origination and then revealing our no self nature as a result. So, in response to us saying from chapter 12, the me that causes my own pain, it can only come from me. And the me that caused it is a different me than the me that's experiencing it. And yet, so me does cause my own pain, but not the me of the moment. That was chapter 12. Well, then how do things work? We ask. Or actually, we don't ask that. We say, no, right? Produce things. Things produce other things. Things make things happen. And Arya Nagarjuna's answer is, anything which misleads us is deceptive. Like, he's not answering the question. Nagarjuna's being a politician. Ask them one thing, they give you a different answer. But since all things that produce are things which mislead us, all produced things are deceptive. So we just think things produce other things. Does that mean they don't really?
Yeah,
Yes,
but
not yes. Yes, they don't really.
But
So
you
they,
also have to throw in the changing thing, I think, there, Lemma. So
how's a changing thing different than a functioning thing?
if it's functioning, it's changing.
Right? And if it's changing, it has to
It's
be
gone.
functioning. Well, it is gone. It has impacted something else, so it is
Right.
different.
Right,
And the something else is different.
right.
And
But when
like
you
it
think
did
of
in
it, it's gone. I mean,
right. The whole thing is gone.
right, like the computer right now, it's
Yeah.
functioning. But when I stop saying what I'm saying, it's gone.
Right.
It's a changing thing.
It is. Okay. Nagarjuna's result is, or his answer to us for getting run over by a truck does so hurt me. Anything that's deceptive. What did he say? Anything that misleads us is deceptive. And since all produced things mislead us, they are all deceptive. How did the truck mislead us in running us over and causing that pain? The truck doesn't mislead us. Okay, where were we? Pauline, did you read, right? Did you read already, Pauline?
I've read, but I can read again.
Yeah, read again. We'll go back up my screen.
Okay. If something is misleading us, what can mislead the deception? The conqueror has taught us this when he taught us emptiness.
Cool. It seems to me this is the first time emptiness has come up, isn't it?
Hmm.
In this whole text on wisdom. We're halfway through before Arya Nagarjuna even mentions emptiness. I could be wrong. It just occurred to me. What can mislead the deception? What's really the deception?
A worldly
Our
train of thought.
wrong worldview.
Yeah. Me in me and that in that. And we connect and we help each other and we hurt each other and they're the cause of everything that I do. Whoops. The only way to see through the deception is to see the emptiness. Intellectually, we get it, but to really cut the deception needs that direct experience, of course. Okay, where does he go from there? Let's go back up the other way. Roxana, please.
Yes, thank you. Things that perform a function can have no essential nature because they appear to change into a different thing. That's what we just said right now. But neither can functioning things lack an essential nature, for these same things have their own emptiness. He's using the word lack here. And then we usually use the verb have an essential nature or are empty of their own nature.
Right.
And I think that the word lack here, in my mind at least, it plays like a little dance and says,
Yeah.
catch the nuances
Yeah.
of this sentence.
Yeah. Do you see what he's saying?
He's saying that if I read it, it's like they have an essential nature, right? But neither can functioning things lack an essential nature.
Right. So because we can use a pen to write a sentence on a paper, it says that it shows us that the pen cannot have its own, it can't have its identity and function in it from it and depend on me to make it do what pens do, which is put ink on paper. It has to depend on me for its own function. It can't have its own essential nature. And the way we know that is those things that perform functions change by doing their function. So it's hard to perceive how a pen changes by me writing with it. Intellectually, we know it's got less ink now. But something more obvious, something that performs a function that then is so clearly different than it was before. Let's go back to the triple berry pie. There's the pie intact. It performs its function. We cut a piece and eat it. Now, the pie is a pie with a piece cut out. Definitely different by way of performing its function. So it can't have an essential nature of being a berry pie. Because, right, if it did, it would still be a whole berry pie even after I ate a piece. And we go, that's ridiculous. Life is not like that. Right. Because by performing a function, things change. He doesn't say change, though. He says appear to change. But neither can functioning things lack an essential nature, for these same things have their own emptiness. He's not talking about the same essential nature here. He can't. Because you can't have this. Well, maybe he is. Maybe he is talking about the same essential nature. Why is it true that
Sorry.
because something exists, it must be empty? Because what does it mean to exist? How do we establish something to exist? That which is perceived by a valid perception.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Right. So if a thing to exist depends on somebody to perceive it to exist, what's its own nature? Not anything until it's perceived. And then what is it? Whatever is perceived by that being. That reveals its emptiness. Is there an emptiness there waiting for the first being to come in order to say, oh, pen, or oh, chew toy? No, there has to be an appearance for there to be an emptiness. So we could say, oh, emptiness is its essential nature. But the emptiness is an absence of something that we think is there that's not actually there. So their essential nature would be an absence, which you could still make the case for the, right, there's no essential nature because the essential nature it has is an absence, which is a no thing, right? It's slippery, right? Words fail, concepts fail, but that's the idea, is we struggle with it. No, that's not right. struggle with it. No, that's not quite right. Struggle with it. No, that's not quite right. Right? And land finally in the which is hopefully going to take us to the direct perception of emptiness someday. Things that perform a function can have no essential nature because they appear to change into a different thing. But neither can functioning things have no essential nature at all, for these same things have their own emptiness, meaning their own emptiness is their essential nature. But when we say that, automatically, I feel it in my own mind. Oh, emptiness is a thing that that object has. Wrong. It's an right? It's an that that object has. Do you remember Coca-Cola and the Uncola 7-Up? Really brilliant advertising. Helps us. Okay. The unpen. The pen and the unpen make this. There can't be one without the other. So what's the deception?
The no thinking of karma and emptiness.
Right. In it, from it. Yelling boss must have met a traffic jam and not got the coffee that they liked, and they're having a bad day, and that's why they're yelling at me today. And that would help me to be more compassionate if I understood that they're suffering and that's why they're being mean to me. All helpful, but deceptive. Yes, Pauline.
Teacher, for the second phrase, does it mean that you're saying the first phrase is saying that things has no essential nature because they appear to be changing, right?
Mhm.
And then second part is saying that but neither can functioning things lack an essential nature. So here is trying to stress that the essential nature is the emptiness of the functioning thing.
Yeah.
So that it depends, because since it's empty, it depends on the perceiver to perceive the thing to be whatever is supposed to be, basing on the person's seed.
Mhm.
Is it trying to
Yeah.
explain that?
Right. So the first essential nature is talking about a nature of itself in it from it. And
Oh,
that
okay.
can't be true because
Yeah,
it seems to
it's a
change.
changing, correct.
But
Because
it
if
can't
it's
have
something
no
that,
essential nature at all because it's an existing thing.
mm,
And all existing things have the nature of being empty and
of,
dependently originated, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really
Yeah.
complete, this
Yeah.
one verse.
Thanks.
So okay, let's go on. I'm working my way back up. Joanna, please.
Thank you. Without a nature of its own, what changes into something else? With a nature of its own, how could it change to something else?
So we're digging into that last verse. Yes, Elsie.
No, I'm thinking like from the previous verses. I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. So let's say uh, a functioning thing with an essential nature of its own, meaning that let's say a key. Now, a key opens the door, right? But sometimes you like for me, for instance, sometimes I know that this key will open my house door, but sometimes using that same key, I'm unable to just turn it to open my door, and then Ken, my husband, will take over and you didn't say a prayer, and he just turn it and it opens, you know. So so the essential nature is that the purpose the key is used for, and the, the the reason why it doesn't work is because I do not have the seed for it to work, right? So here it says it doesn't have a nature of its own because um if no, it says here without a nature of its own, it won't be able to change into something else, right? That's what the two lines mean. So I mean it's just a key then, and if I don't have the seed to open to make it work, so then it's just a key. But with my seed, it becomes my house key that can, allow me entry into the house.
Right.
So that, I mean, I look at it that way. So I'm not
Right.
sure.
That's what this verse is pointing out to us, is the punchline of how things actually function. Right? Which is okay. So then Nagarjuna is like leading us through how to investigate that statement that functioning things can't have a nature of their own and do what they do. How do we know that? Because they seem to change. And to change means they've been impacted by something else. And so that means if they can be impacted from something else, then they can't have their own nature. But come on, what does your mind say? My own mind goes, well, that's ridiculous. Something has to have its own nature in order to be impacted by something else. The key has to be a key to do its impact on the doorknob, which also has to have its doorknob quality and function so that the key can impact it. I mean, really, our experience, direct experience, seems to contradict what these verses are saying. This verse seems to be saying, when you put the key in the doorknob and turn it, that's impossible. But it's like, it's not impossible. I just did it. But it's impossible to have worked in the way that you thought. It deceptively did it. No, it wasn't deceptive. The door opened. It was real. Right? The key has to have a nature of unlocking the door. How does the key change when it unlocks the door? My mind goes, the key doesn't change. But
Can we
is
say
it
can we say that contributing factors are the ones who are influencing on the object or on the working thing or whatever.
Yeah, certainly we can say that. There are
Okay,
contributing factors. So then are the contributing factors actually more important than the original factor or the primary factor?
they'll play its role. I can't make the impact. Even, I mean, in some cases I can, in others cases I can't. I can't control it.
Well, then you're not a
The
contributing
ripening.
factor
I
until
know.
you're experiencing being a contributing factor, then something else
Right,
caused that.
right. But we can have the contributing factors when you talk about, you know, the seed, and you put the water and you move the soil and do.
Right,
You're not there just sitting there watching.
right, right. And the seed is being changed by the
Right,
contributing factors.
right.
So the key is being changed by the contributing factors,
Yes,
just in a more subtle way, right?
right. Erosion, if it hits water, if by the
The-
touch of
Right,
metal against metal,
right. It's wearing out,
it's wearing out. Yeah.
appears to be wearing out. I got distracted. Where were we going? Because we're so sure when one thing causes another thing to happen, that means the thing that did the cause has to have the ability to do the cause in it from it, because we just showed ourselves that it worked. And Nagarjuna goes, no, you just showed yourself dependent origination and emptiness. Can you get it?
Can we play like a little example and see if I understood it, dear Lama, with that, especially with the last written verse?
This one?
That one. It's no. You just passed it.
This one.
Right here, that one. It says, but neither can functioning things lack an essential nature. So if I were to show this, what is it? What do you see? See it?
It looks to me, well, at first it looked to me like a cut citrus, but now
Okay.
I see it as a bottle cap.
It is a bottle cap, right? It is a bottle cap. So it says, but neither can functioning things, like you just see a flat surface out here, right? So it's deceiving our mind because we're thinking, oh, what is it? But when it says a lack of essential nature, it's the identity, the label that I'm putting on. Is it that? Because this thing is not going, hey, I'm a yellow cap, I'm a yellow cap. Hey, I'm plastic. No, I'm rubber.
Teacher, can I try to answer? Please, correct enough.
Yes, please.
I
Please.
try to answer. Okay, to a human, we will not a baby, okay, an adult will know that it's a cap for the bottle or something. But to a fly, it's a landing pad. It's something to land on. So it depicts the emptiness of that object. So the essential nature of that object, I wouldn't say a cap anymore, because it could be a landing place for the fly, and it could be a bottle cap for a human. So that object, the essential nature of this object that you are holding just now, the yellow thing, the essential nature is the emptiness of it, of the object. Is it okay,
It
teacher?
does have an essential nature.
But does the second verse trying to explain to us that the essential nature of that object is the emptiness of that object?
Yeah, it is. And the emptiness of that object is the lack of its own nature.
Correct. So that's why it could be something to land on for the fly, and it could be a bottle cap for a human. So that's
Right.
what I'm trying to point out.
Right.
Okay, it's the bottle's not here anymore. So that means that this isn't performing a function,
Not at the moment.
not at the moment. But for me, without the bottle, this performs a function.
Right. It's
Because,
performing the function of you explaining to us emptiness, independent origination right now.
right, and goes beyond. Because if I were to collect them, I
Right.
can help kids with cancer.
Wow, that bottle cap can cure cancer?
No, not it's from its own side, but it's a contributing factor to get medicines, to sell them.
So that means it can be a bottle cap at one moment, and then it can be a not bottle cap at another moment, and then it can be a contributing factor to funding for kids' cancer treatment. What's its limit?
It's a functioning thing. It's limitless. It can do so many things. I mean, you can trace a circle, you can wear it as a clown's nose.
Yeah. So it performs all of those functions.
It's a changing thing. It depends who's seeing, who's putting the label.
Right. It of itself does nothing.
Right. It has no essential nature of itself. It's lacking it.
So why can't I just look at that object and it be, I don't know, it can be, I'm blanking out. It could be, why can't I just look at that object and because it's empty, I decide, oh, that's a cup of coffee.
You can pour some coffee in it.
All right, I could put coffee
Just a
in.
sip. Just a sip.
If it has no nature of its own, and we can outline all of these different uses for it, it's like, I can't build a building on it. It can't be a foundation for a building. There are some things it can't do. And there are some things it can do. Doesn't that mean it has some kind of nature of its own that limits what we can put onto it?
But I think that things are, I mean, the computer has its own purpose. The light bulb here has its own purpose of working, of
In it, from it.
functioning.
In it, from it.
Right.
No, it doesn't. That's the whole point.
No, but I mean,
It appears to.
I cannot plug the computer directly to a light bulb.
I know.
It
Not because something in the computer. It sure seems like it.
sure seems like it, right?
Right.
This isn't the medicine it's in itself,
Right.
but it's the agent.
Right.
It can be an agent. So I
Right.
think things are agents in a certain way to function and to work according to the karma that we have, the karma that is ripening.
Right. We know the punchline.
Right.
But what if we didn't? Oh, we're past break time. Let's take a break. I'm going to let the recording go. Let mute myself so you don't have to hear all that. Okay, so Nagarjuna has pointed out to us that those functioning things can't have their function in them from them because they change by doing their function. So they can't have an essential nature. They can't have their own essential nature. And because they are existing things, they do have the essential nature of lacking their own nature. Then, I don't know whether it's him pulling this apart or it's our Kachik. But if, so let's take Elsie's key in the lock and let's look at the lock because that's more obvious that it's getting changed. So you have this thing called a key that appears to have in it the essential nature of being the key that fits that lock. And then the lock has its own nature of being the thing, right, that keeps the door from opening or allows the door to open. And we would say the key has its nature of being a key, and the key for that lock, we put it into the lock that has its nature of being the lock that fits that key. And then the function happens, you turn the key, the lock shifts from locked to unlocked. So the key and the lock, certainly they have to have their own natures in order for the change to happen, right? Because they have to be there to change. So consider the lock that gets changed by the key. It has to have its own nature of being the lock that gets changed by the key. It has to be in it. We say worldly. But then if the lock has a nature of its own, independent of any other factor, means of its own, how could it go from being locked to unlocked, whether you had a key or not? Right? It's a key thing to like drill into us. When we say something has its own nature, the implication is in it, from it, independent of any other factor. And Roxanne has already been pointing out that no, functioning things don't have their own function in them. They rely on those contributing factors. And if we looked at the contributing factors, we'd say, and those contributing factors don't have any quality of being contributing factors because they rely on other contributing factors. And they rely on others, and they rely on others, and they rely on others. And so how does the whole thing work?
I would say that the doorknob has parts.
Correct?
Okay, so if it has parts, it can be opened, it could be closed, it can be upside down, it can be
Right. And is
red,
that
yellow.
enough, right, to stop suffering, to simply understand that the doorknob can't have its own nature because it depends upon its parts?
It's an existing thing. I was thinking right now, I'm in my mom's kitchen, and I'm going through all of the existing objects that she has, right? And I was thinking, well, this is called stove. This is called this is called that. I'm labeling things.
Right.
We label things, and that's why we call suffering. That's why we call it, this gives me joy. This gives me, but it were just existing things. They're just existing things with its parts,
Technically, they
with
are
a function,
right?
with its qualities, with
It's
its
all part of your
identities.
language. all
It's part of the
your-
label, but I'm the one, I mean, my ripening seeds are the ones
So
who
you're
are
the only
making
real
the
thing.
object. Hmm?
So you're the only real thing.
No, I'm not the only real thing, but I'm looking at what surrounds me. I'm looking at my world.
Right, exactly. Without a nature of its own, what changes into something else? With a nature of its own, how could it change to something else? Yeah? Something else is going on here.
Teacher, without the nature of its own, the last important part will be our seed that labels.
Exactly.
That is the difference that cause it. That's why there is emptiness of that object. So the perceiver that labels it is very important, our seeds.
Right, right, right. So the thing is there first, and then our seeds land on it. And our seeds make it into the functioning thing. It wasn't a functioning thing until our seed landed on it as a functioning thing. But it had to be there first. True or not true?
It's until I have a conscious awareness of something.
I think not true.
Right, not true.
Because it's nothing until we put the last part in the label, which is our
Right.
seed.
Well,
Yeah,
but
there's
then,
nothing there.
right, there's nothing there. So if my label is making the something be there, what does my label land on? How come my label doesn't just keep going out, to the ends of the universe? Doesn't it have to land on something?
No, if we think it in a self-existing way, then it has to land on something. But if we think it like just merely projections, it doesn't really have to land on something where like something is already there from its own side.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're saying that nothing really exists. That first there's nothing, and then our karmic seeds ripen into something. Isn't anybody gonna bite?
I think Lama, it's if we look at uh, there's nothing there until our sixth projection makes it appear. Then I mean, it's like just like um when we stand on top of a mountain and we shout or scream or something like that, and then we hear echoes coming back. But when we look at those places, I mean, it looks like it's empty. It's just like walking into an empty house, a house that has no furniture. But when you talk in that house, it seems that like there's echo coming back, you know. So could it be that we are actually, and now I'm talking about energy now. We are like a ball of energy moving around, and and there the things that we see are bounce back to us from our projection. So as you said, there's nothing there until our suits make it appear. Our projections show us what it is.
Right. Right. Nothing but energy. But now we have the problem. What is the energy there before we project onto it?
Hmm. Or
Do you
maybe
right?
there's a
The
gift
conundrum.
that
Yeah, yeah. Nice explanation. Yes, Joanna.
It's not an answer, I think, but it's for me this momentum of there's always this constant stream and you can't stop it. And
Right.
there's always, I don't want to say there's a moment before.
Right.
So, but there's always this process going. And since we can't stop it, so there's always something going out. And I know it's not the answer, but it's like this is for me the part where I'm stuck in, like there's
Right. That
the basis, let's say.
yeah. Yeah. You know, it feels to me like I'm so clinging to that linear. Something has to be there first and then something else.
Mm,
You know, and we're trying to grapple with how can we really relate to that being impossible and still explain what experience. So it's like, is there ever not projection happening? No. So you can't say first there's nothing and then projections happen, because there's always projections happening. And because there's always projections happening, there's always the emptiness of the projector, the projection, and what it's right, the action that it's always. So it's always there, and it's never there the way we think. Because part of that projection is the misunderstanding that we're trying to unravel in these cryptic verses, you know, and it's like we get a glimpse and then I'm aware my mind goes, no, it has to be like this. And it's like, no, get back in there. Yes, Roxana.
No, would just like to say that I liked Elsie's example of the empty room with the echo.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, and the deceptiveness for me would be the echo channeling
Right.
back. And the
Mhm.
empty room is the the full potential of being the absolutely everything there.
Exactly.
So thank you, Elsie.
Yeah. Without a nature of its own, what changes into something else? With a nature of its own, how could it change into something else? We're getting glimpses, aren't we? Janet, you're next. Do you feel like reading for us?
A thing that really was a thing could never change into another, but neither could it be another thing, because the young cannot grow old and the old cannot grow old either.
Whoa, where did that come from?
I mean, in some ways, since April, I've quit my job, stayed at my job. One of my coworkers has gotten arrested. The ladies have gotten moved to a new house. And my friend, I moved out of Chicago in 2001, so I've known him since then, is not working because he wants the disability, I guess. And in some ways, it's just shown me that I'm not grateful for the nice work that I have that allows me to watch Zooms while I'm at work and get paid for it. And she knows. I don't know what's wrong with me. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like I think it's not a good enough job, but relative to someone that can't work, it's good enough. And I don't have to pay rent, so it's good enough, but most people do. And then I tell myself I'm enabling the system of people, but am I really enabling the system, or am I just telling myself I'm unable the system? So this is with young and old, but my quandary since we got back from Mexico is whether I think it's a good job or a bad job. It's all mixed up. It's neither
Yeah.
good nor bad. They're all good aspects and bad aspects.
Right. Right. Good
And,
aspect.
there was a world where women couldn't work. Though I guess technically I'm in that world because I'm supported by a man at this point, but so no matter what I say, it just gets me in trouble. And then I think, well, I should just say nothing at all. But I should take initiative because, I mean, I was watching Carolyn Neese, and I think I've mentioned this before, and she was saying how people think if they do spiritual work, things will just happen to them. They'll just happen to them, this sense of privilege. And so I have to take initiative. I have to look, but there's nothing really wrong with my jobs now. There's nothing wrong. But I can't believe that if I do purifications, things will just happen. That's so American in some ways. It's like we're just the royal people that will just have things given and thrown to us. It's I mean for maybe some people, but even I would say the Buddha was a prince and he still had to work at his enlightenment. It didn't just happen.
Right. Right. We do need to purify, make merit. We need to do. Right? Wisely do. Because the doing doesn't work. The doing itself doesn't work. That's what we're looking at.
Well, but you still do the doing. You purify, but you still have to do the doing. I still have to ask Roxana for help with like maybe interviewing and resumes at some point.
Yeah.
But it's not the interviewing and resumes because it's not a bad situation, really.
Yeah.
But maybe making decisions for a bad decision is part of what got me into this mess to begin with, the grasping onto good things and then pushing away at bad things. So I
Yeah.
keep pushing away this thing because I think it's a bad thing, but really it's a neutral thing.
Right.
And then I'm like, well, then how do people make decisions? Because all my life I've pushed away bad things. So how do I move forward? And that's where I'm at. I don't know how to move forward.
Yeah.
But there's a
Stuck.
time gap, Janet.
Right.
There's that time gap, that eventually the seed will ripen.
Yeah.
With the
So
first part of this, oh, sorry.
go ahead, please.
With this first part of the verse, I was thinking, yeah, not from its own side, but for example, a person who's got dementia, and the moment you didn't have dementia, you can see the pen as a pen. And then you get dementia, and then you just don't have this ability to see it as pen. Or as Keshe says, one moment you have the seeds to see it as a pen, and the next moment you see it as a chew toy because,
Right.
wow, you can whack a dog. It's like this. This made me also thinking that this, even though I mean the purification does do things, because it will bring seeds to ripen earlier than they would have ripened. So also with the time gap, it's shortening probably also the time gap that Roxana said. And it will change things, at least in our perception, because something has ripened. And yes, we have to do something else so that we have different seeds that probably bring a pleasurable result, but the negative ones that we already have, we can't let them just grow. Or we can, it's our choice. But
Right.
I'm not sure if this is. So it's this hint for me in this first part of the verse from not from its own side. There's things changing, but it's not the thing that it's changing. It's something else that's moving
Right.
and makes a change in our perception. Let's say like that, maybe. I don't
Right.
know.
May I say
Because-
something to
Okay,
contribute
please.
to what Joanna has said, dear Lama?
Yes, please.
Okay. Joanna mentioned dementia. and Lama mentioned dementia in our last class. And how is it that you grow the seeds for dementia? It's by being disrespectful, by getting angry. So, as Lama says, you have to be an educated Buddhist to understand the essential lack of nature that things have on its own. So, for example, I think that just by sitting and listening to these classes, we can stop dementia in our lives. We can stop dementia in so many other ways by purifying those five negative emotions that we have. by by putting our efforts and in rejoicing in the times that we didn't get upset and that we weren't disrespectful as well. Because dementia is a big, powerful word in our world. So, and I guess that Arya Nagarjuna is showing us in these verses, dementia, work. I mean, everything that we're lacking right now that has a lack of self-nature, how to transform it into a different worldview, into a different perspective, to change our perception, to change our seeds towards that. I think it's so powerful.
Right.
Thank you, dear Lama.
He's trying to help us catch our tenacious belief in the self natures of subjects, objects, experiences. So we're talking now about things that perform their functions, things that work, and how deeply we hold that for a thing to be able to make another thing to happen, the original thing has to have the power in it to do that. And look, I'll prove it to you. This key turns the lock. This key doesn't. The pencil doesn't. The pen doesn't. The banana doesn't. This key does. It has to have some nature of its own. It's so strong in us. Even as we say, okay, I understand nobody else knows it's my key, and nobody else knows it's the key to that doorknob. All of that's empty, yeah. But come on, the key and the lock. They're not horses, they're not bananas, they're not trips to Hawaii. They are keys and locks. They have their own nature. Why do I say it? Because they work. Do you see, we're using the same logic to come to a conclusion as he's wanting us to use, to come to a different conclusion. So is our logic good or is our logic bad? If we come to a different conclusion, crazy. Yes, Janet.
So I worked in memory care. I don't know. I mean, my Nai Lama Mike, he says that everything's a teaching opportunity. So I guess I'll go there for now. There was one man there. His name was Boomer, and he would, and the other coworker would just say, "He's the only one I'd take home with me. All the rest of them, you know, they're I wouldn't want them home, but I'd take him home." And he was a veteran, and he was married, and he had kids. And he used to be an accountant, and his wife passed away, but he couldn't remember. This is an example of someone who was nice his entire life and never did anything mean his entire life. And
Yeah,
then when he had dementia, he was also nice. I
yeah.
mean, maybe the hardest thing as a caregiver that he would do is he would go to the refrigerator and get ice cream for himself, but he would never like deny meds or let us not take care of him or get out of bed and fall. Maybe occasionally, but used to be a runner. He ran. He had a hip surgery, and then put him on hospice, but he lived a year after. And hospice, you're only supposed to live 3 months. Well,
Yeah.
not supposed to, but it's around then. But he tripled it, and then he got a cold, and he never recovered from it. So I actually don't think there's anything wrong with dementia in its of itself. It's our
Right.
human behavior. If we
Right.
were always kind our entire lives, once we got dementia, we would continue to be kind and it just wouldn't be a problem.
Right. And our caregivers would be happy to take care of us.
Yeah, they take them home with them.
Right. 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 No, those dementia seeds were probably not from that lifetime. Most of our dementia, I believe, is not from that lifetime. Right?
But you're watering seeds.
We are
I
watering
imagine.
seeds. Right. Right.
And it ripens in this lifetime.
To make the old seeds ripen. It clearly
Right.
ripens in this lifetime.
Right, right. That's what I think.
Everything we experience is ripenings in this lifetime, right?
Right.
And plantings for probably future lifetime. No, I understand. Geshe Michael says you can make seeds ripen in 2 weeks. But, you know, I think it's the watering seeds that were planted long ago that are getting stronger, 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 that pushed everything over the edge. But that detail doesn't matter.
But
Well, until we get to this level, and then it does matter.
the problem is we're not omniscient, so we don't know. And as a caregiver, and even with the alchemy people, as a caregiver, we probably in past life caregive people that were in deep meditation. Whether it be retreat or they were in Egypt and they were undergoing, rituals.
Yeah.
And the other way of caregiving is that you are serving royalty, that you
Yeah.
are serving the kings and queens and you serve them now.
Exactly.
But we don't know because we're not omniscient.
Exactly. Exactly. But you know, when we understand the correlations, it is useful to like make up those scenarios in order to help our state of mind, our quality of interaction with others, stay more wise, more kind. And I had done that one time. I was having some kind of mental affliction, obstacles happening in my life, kind of a repeated theme to things. And I sat down one day and I just thought, well, that means in some past life, I was the one who was doing that to everybody else. And I made up this wicked me that was like that in this past life. And it started to unfold. And this, what I did in that life, like created the causes for all these different things that I had experienced in my life. Like it took on a life of its own. And it went on for about 20 minutes. And then it just sort of faded away. I came to the end. It's like that me didn't die or anything. But I knew enough to go, wow, I didn't know any better back then. Now I do. Now I see how I created all of this crap in my life right now. Man, do I regret it. I'm so grateful I've learned about karma and emptiness. I'll do my best, right? Just a really puny 4 power. And then that stuff really started to shift. The stuff didn't shift. My resistance to it, my upset by it, that fell away. And then the other stuff started to fall away. So then sometime later, I had the opportunity to ask Geshe Michael about it. And his answer to me was, you didn't make up that past life. And he walked away. And it's like that told me so much about the usefulness of taking what we know about our karmic consequences and coming up with a story that answers questions, and then applying what I know about karma and emptiness to that in order to bring about a shift. So just what Janet was saying, yes, you can think, well, I must be serving these people because I was a servant before. And then you can take that a little bit deeper and say, so I get to be a servant again, now understanding wisely what a good thing being a servant is. Whereas before, maybe I was resentful and I didn't like being a servant. And now I get the chance to be in that role again and get paid, right? And right. So really you are pointing out different ways we can have different attitudes as we do anything. Technically, if we were a factory worker and our job was to put the lids on the tomato soup cans, we are a servant, right? We are serving everybody who's gonna enjoy that tomato soup, and the grocery clerk and the grocery company and the trucking company, right? We're serving all of them by putting the can. It's as important as whatever important job we think is more important. Hey, we contribute to existence. We are important. If a thing was really the thing, it couldn't do what it appears to do. It couldn't change. Well, if it doesn't change into something else, it must go from locked doorknob to unlocked doorknob, just bing, bing. And it's like, no. If it was really a thing, a locked doorknob, it can neither change moment by moment into an unlocked doorknob, nor suddenly be an unlocked doorknob. Because if it's in it, from it, it can't be changed, it can't be impacted by any other factor. Do we believe things can't be impacted by other factors? No, of course not. We know things are impacted by other factors. And at the same time, we insist that all those things that impact other things have their own natures. You know, it's like, come on. That's like insisting that the sky is blue and pink at the same time, says Nagarjuna. Choose one or the other, but you can't have both. But then they use this phrase, because the young can't grow old and the old can't grow old either, as if that's the proof of a thing can't change into another thing, nor be another thing. Is it proof? Or is it an example? Or is it a why do I say that about things can't be things and change? Why is it that the young can't grow old?
There's no aging in and of itself. Like there's no self-existent process happening to the body that we think exists self-existently. But without the punchline, I would not be able to decipher these things.
Right.
Well, if they're
No.
old, they're not young anymore. I mean, so tomorrow I'm gonna go to wait for the new reincarnation of Geshe Zopa to come from the airport, and he's
Yay.
7 or 9, but he's
Yeah.
not a teacher yet. And then Lama Sarani said a lot of these new Indian taught trained lamas are different than the Tibetan ones, and that students at Deer Park say the same thing. So we're expecting him to come back to Deer Park and teach, but really that hasn't happened yet, and it may not happen.
May not
But
happen.
I feel like, you know, I should at least go there and welcome him and let him feel welcome. And I don't know if they're going to change and handle the way these Tibetan trained lamas are trained and give them a little suffering and not have them be little princes. I don't know what's going to happen, because that's been the criticism too, that they've
Yeah.
been given everything and they don't have a lot of compassion.
Right.
And so I look at all this and I'm like, well, you know, he might be a really high lama, he might not be. But since you don't know, you might as well be good to him.
Right. You might as well treat him like he is one.
Yeah.
You might as well treat your clients like they're kings and queens. We might as well treat the grocery store clerk as if they're our grandma. We might as well, yeah, treat the cranky bus driver as if he's an angel. We might as well. What harm would it do? They don't deserve that. Right? Our own me that's in me from me kicks in. It's terrible. Yes, Tracy, welcome. We haven't seen you in Nagarjuna class for a long time,
I
girlfriend.
know, and I almost didn't have the karma, but Joanna, blessed your soul and heart, sent me the link. And I just wanted to just share one thing, and it's amazing. I'm studying very deeply into the Heart Sutra right now. And yesterday, Marigpa Meching, Marigpa Zipa Mipa Ne Gashi Meching, Gashi Zipe Pardu Yang Medo. It's
Right.
basically there is
Right.
no
Like,
misunderstanding.
that's right.
Your world, there is no stopping this misunderstanding. And the same is true all the way up to your old age and your death, and to stopping your old age and your death. And basically this line tells us that even the 12 links,
Right.
we have no even proper understanding of that, and it's about shutting down the first and second, those links. So I just wanted to kind of chime in and add that to what you were talking about.
Right. Right. The 12 links is not a thing. The young can't grow old, and the old can't grow old either. Why is he using that as his, I don't know, example of why a functioning thing can't be a functioning thing in the way that we think? Think ke ga na chi. Forced rebirth. Okay, God, get illness, aging, death, whatever order those come in. They're the suffering of samsara. This whole sequence of chapters has been about pain. And technically, although we're talking about general purpose functioning things, we're in this sequence of how is it that pain functions to hurt me, right? How is it that pain is pain in and of itself? We haven't quite got there yet. So if we were trying to sort out his comment about young can't grow old and old can't grow old either, it's not talking about the changing experience. It's talking about our thinking about whether being young is a thing and being old is a thing. So we think, oh, okay, so I ask you, what does young mean?
A fresh canvas.
Anybody younger than me is young, right? So when I'm 2, you know how little toddlers love babies, right? Because finally there's somebody younger than me. But I'm 71. I have good friends who are 86, 90. In my exercise class, there's a 95-year-old lady. Yeah, and her 75-year-old daughter. When we first moved to Tucson Estates, we were 60, 61. We were the babies here. You know, it's crazy. You can't say old, you can't say young, because it's relative, we say. Technically, right? We know it's karmic. But we have this idea, what it is young, what it is old, what it is old to get older. He said, come on. Let's go on. Where were we? Janet read for us. Let's go back down. Joanna, please.
Say a thing that was itself could change into another thing. Then milk could become yogurt. If milk were other than itself, it would already be yogurt.
What a simple example. How do you make yogurt? You take stuff called milk. You add a little yogurt to it. You sit it at a certain temperature. You wait 3 days. It's not yogurt yet. You wait 5 days. Not yogurt yet. You wait, I don't know, 8.5 days. Oh, yogurt. What happened? Did the milk change from being milk to being yogurt? Yeah. But when did it happen? What's really happening? Do you see, we're not saying we can't make yogurt. But if we think milk is milk the way we think milk is milk, then it's impossible for it to become yogurt. So we're being inconsistent. He's helping us recognize our inconsistency. But how does that work? I mean, how does it help us? Okay, I understand that the milk I'm taking out of the fridge now, that I'm going to put in the starter and put it into my yogurt maker and make yogurt. I understand that that milk is not what's becoming yogurt. And that the spoonful of yogurt that I put into the milk is not what's making yogurt. And that it may and may not ever become yogurt. I have made yogurt that when I tasted it, it was terrible. It was like acetone, poison. I turned milk into poison instead of yogurt. But how does it help us on a day-to-day basis to understand that it's not milk turning into yogurt? I can't make yogurt out of water. I can't make yogurt out of grass. I can't make yogurt out of vehicles. I seem to be able to make yogurt out of coconut. And I think they make it out of almonds. But they don't make it out of bananas. Like, how come? Sounds like a kid's game, right? I'm thinking of something that you can make out of milk, but not bananas. Oh, yogurt. You must be thinking about yogurt. Like, what's our mind doing? No, something special about milk, something special about yogurt. No, that can't work that way. But it does work that way, but it can't work that way. Yeah, right? That's the idea. Let's see where he goes. We have 2 minutes. Let's do one more. Roxana, please.
Thank you. If there was a fraction of a thing that wasn't empty, we'd have a little emptiness. If there was not a fraction of a thing that wasn't empty, how could there be emptiness?
Oh, that's a good one to cook all week.
Really good one.
If there was a fraction of a thing that was not empty, we would have a little emptiness. If there was not a fraction of a thing that was not empty, how could there be emptiness? That seems backwards, doesn't it? Tracy, what do you have to say?
I heard this interpretation the other day. Form is emptiness and emptiness is form. And emptiness can't be anything other than form, and form can't be anything other than emptiness. I was like,
Right.
what?
Right. Takes both. And it needs to be pointed out because we think they are two separate things. Here's emptiness. Here's stuff. They come together to be the stuff I experience. But is there emptiness without stuff? No. Is there stuff without emptiness? No. We think yes. We think the stuff is there first, and then we can see that it's empty. But it's all or nothing. And nothing is impossible. Because it would have to be perceived for nothing to exist. Can't. So it's all. But it's never the same two moments in a row. So what is there ever? Because moment, 65 per instant. How can you pin anything down as being a thing? Yes, Pauline.
Sure, because emptiness is an absence. It's either there or not there. It's the
Right.
emptiness of the thing, existing thing. So it cannot be, if you view it as something like emptiness is something like from self nature, then you can get it like a fraction of it, a quarter of it, or half of it, but it's an absence. So it's either there or not there.
Exactly. Exactly. Again, he's pointing out our misunderstanding even of karma and emptiness. So nice. We learned some stuff. 13.7 we're at.
Thank you, dear Lama. I need to go now.
Okay. Do your dedication, of course.
Yes, I will. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for being here. All right. So remember that person we wanted to be able to help. We've dug in a bit deeper. And that's a great, great goodness. So please be happy with yourself. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone that you can hold in your hands. Recall your own precious holy being. See how happy they are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please stay close, to continue to guide you, help you. Inspire you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And they carry it with them right back into your heart. See them there, feel them there, their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so good, we want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it by the power of the goodness that we've just done. May all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the true ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that one person. To share it with everyone you love. To share it with every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with loving kindness, filled with wisdom. And may it be so. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for playing with me. I'm stopping the recording. Joanna, stay on with me, will you please?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for
teacher.
teaching.
Thank you. I'm stopping.
Bye.
Thank you, teacher.